Welcome to the Lakeshow podcast presented by Jack in the Box. It's a weekly deep dive into the biggest stories and topics surrounding the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm Allie Clifton, joined by my Spectrum SportsNet co-host, Chris McGee.
Hello.
And veteran NBA writer, Mark Medina. Is your name Mark?
Yes.
No, it's not short for anything? Marcus? Mark?
I mean, you can call me whatever you want, but yeah, birth certificate says Mark.
Well, my birth certificate said a year that I was born, and it was not, so.
Really?
Wow.
You never know. Remember that whole thing with my passport that I was trying to figure out?
Wow, that's right.
Oh,
Couldn't figure out if I was actually a year younger or a year older.
That sounds like
You're
a
Allison on your birth
logistical
certificate.
Yeah.
nightmare, Allie.
And I am Allison on my birth certificate, yes. Yeah. There's a lot.
I mean, you could
The
go
birth certificate
Marcus,
could tell you.
Marky Mark,
Marky Mark.
Medina, but Mark works.
I've called
You
you all
said
those.
Marky Mark. You've called him all of them?
I think so.
Yeah.
And some curse words in there,
No,
too.
never.
A few
never,
times.
Never. I would never do that.
What are you on your birth certificate? Christopher?
Christopher McGee, come on down.
Come on down. We need to get Christopher McGee hosting The Price is Right. Late night Price is Right now. That's what it's
Yeah,
called.
that's right. Who would
That's like
who would take
right
my
around-
job? Who would
that's
get my
right up your
job
alley.
here?
I'll do it. If that means, well, I mean, you don't get to go forever.
Oh.
Oh, you want to go forever?
No, I'm just saying if I get that job, then it's.
Oh, well,
Could you do both?
yeah.
Ryan Seacrest can, so maybe I could.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that your show would be at the same. Well, no, you guys would
and
tape
they also
during the
tape
afternoon.
it. They also
yeah.
tape it.
Yeah, my vote,
Get
Geeter,
it
is you
done.
do both.
Yeah, I do both.
Because we need you. We
Yeah,
need you.
we do both.
We need you to host the you-know-what out of each show.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen at some point. It's
Do you think
destiny.
that you could host it in jorts?
1,000% I would. If that would get me the job, I would 100% do it. Like to
That would be-
having a throwback day on The Price is Right, I would go in jorts.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my.
They brought me some here, like last year, Brian DeClue, I think on my birthday or something. They got me some jorts
That's
from our,
what that was.
our original programming department. Yeah, remember?
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on.
I didn't keep them. He has them somewhere, but
Allie, I'm just going to throw this out there. I mean, if you're going to do Prices Right, we need to do a Happy Gilmore sequel, and then you can make a cameo there.
filling in for Bob.
Get a nice fight, too, on the greens.
Filling in for Bob Barker. I don't think Allie saw Happy.
No, I haven't seen that.
I could tell by the way you were looking at
You're like, what
Marky
is
Mark
Mark
over there.
talking about?
Oh, is that what that's from? Marky Mark?
Price is Right. You never saw that?
No.
Where Bob Barker and Adam Sandler just throw hands?
No.
It's one of the great scenes of all time.
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore. Yeah, they fight and literally roll down the hill and fight at a tournament. Yeah. Full out brawl. Donnybrook.
I would say it's it's the best scene in comedy, but it's going to soon be in second when we see Geeter's fight with
Oh, it
Adam
would be
Sandler.
epic. That would be epic. Well, along those lines, I'm wearing an NBA Jam sweatshirt today. And so I think it was Director Bergen said, what would mine be?
Yeah.
My points here. And so I actually want to ask you guys, because I don't know what mine would be. I would have
Because
to
that's
think
your road
about it.
tripping shirt.
Yeah, this is our road tripping. Soft plug. Go to homage.com. You can get your road tripping swag whenever you'd like. This is Richard Jefferson, Channing Frye. And they had 3-pointers, dunks, humor, and hair. What would yours be? You guys have both great hair. So,
Well, thank you, Allie.
I'd have to
I
have
mean,
hair on there.
yeah, you'd have to have
Gotta
hair.
have humor
can't
on
compete
there.
with
Calves.
yours.
Calves are on there for sure.
Oh, feet,
For me,
Allie's
I put
feet.
the burpees down there, you know?
burpees,
Great
There we
call.
go.
Pop culture knowledge. That's a good one.
negative. Yep.
But we'd give you the 3-ball. You have the fireball opening tip.
Yeah.
Did you say 3-ball?
Yeah, like outside shooting.
I
Yeah.
just want to
do I
make sure you
say it
said
like-
3.
3.
Social media cachet or something. Like your social media is like really good.
I have a trending thing that's coming out in about 45 minutes right after this.
Wow.
Is that your the thing you were doing with
That I
Karina?
was doing, yeah.
Right.
Influencer.
Look, it is
That would be
2024.
the tag.
You
She's
got to
good.
keep up with
She's
social
great
media
at,
these days.
She's great on social media.
You do a good job, though.
Of
'Cause you're always-
just being on yours.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't.
you're really good at posting stuff from Mills and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And
yeah.
obviously, it matters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like being on yours.
Well, thanks. I'll always put you on mine.
Yeah, I don't.
Come
have
on
any,
over.
I don't have any fans. So
Come
that's-
on
that's-
down. Come on over. This is the first time I've ever seen anyone bring note cards to a podcast.
Hey, I want to be prepared here.
Yeah.
You know what we should do, Allie? Just real quick before we get into it. When a fan wants a picture of your feet,
Yeah.
and we charge for that,
Yeah.
let's send them a picture of mine. And just see what happens. Yeah,
That actually would be epic.
because you know what? We haven't been to yoga with me, but I always have a little. You know, my big toes are always a color.
Oh, yeah. I do know that.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
Because I have one daughter, so when I go to pedicures with my one kid, we always get a color on each toe for each kid. So I could send that picture, and that'd be pretty funny to pretend it's yours and see what people think.
But then would I have
Maybe
to
throwing
follow
off a
up
little
with
hair on
mine?
the toe or something. They might be thrown off with that, but
Would I have to throw in mine then?
no, we'll just
What if
Yeah,
they sent
yeah.
money?
what?
What if they sent money?
then we're throwing yours out.
then we're stuck. Brett is so confused back there. He actually just had to turn his head. He didn't like it.
Brett's watching Suns Boston. He could care less.
Brett's really uncomfortable. It's fine. He's back. Okay, should we dive into some Lakers chatter? I actually just pulled up the standings. And the first thing, we have reached that point of the season. Playoff bracket if the season ended today.
Yeah. Well, what? We're 15 games out?
15 games out. So it would be Lakers 9.
A month away from the season ending.
10 game with the Warriors.
Would it be at Crypto or would it be at Golden State?
That would be at Crypto.com Arena.
They play twice. I think that'll be the decision maker.
Flashback to 2021.
Yeah. Except the winner doesn't get in. Winner's got to play again. And
That's
the loser's
true.
out.
That's true. It's not 7-8.
Remember,
it's 9-10.
Golden State lost twice that year, right?
That is true.
Epic game with us. And
Yep.
I don't know, man. Like,
And then you have
You don't-
Phoenix and Mavs 7-8.
it's not that the win's out of the sails or anything, but they're definitely going to be in that 9-10 game, in my opinion. Unless I was thinking about it today with text chain with some of the peeps, and I know they would have to go 11-4. Mavs would have to go 8-8. I think the Mavs are better than 8-8, and 11-4 is really tough. Mark, so you have to. I mean, obviously you always have hope, but right now it looks like the 9-10 game. Just try to get a home game in that.
Yeah,
slot.
I mean, Geeter, look, mathematically things can change, but we've seen mathematically that the Lakers are a dramatically different team game to game. And so we have to assume, especially this late in the season, that whether they have LeBron and AD, whether they have key injuries to rotation guys or not, this is the team. This is a 500 team that can beat good teams. They can also lose to good teams and bad teams. And we really don't know what we're going to get on a night-to-night basis with them.
And then the way you think about it is, I mean, obviously the Lakers can't think about it like this way, but I think as fans, it's like, hey, you go 10-5, you're playing good basketball. Hopefully 2 of those wins are against Golden State. Now you're playing at home in the 9-10 game. You get a win, you're going on the road. And you're taking on either a Dallas, Sacramento, Phoenix. I mean, all those teams are scary with elite players, tough matchups. And then you hope for a win and say hello to Denver. I mean, it's just not an easy road, right?
You hope for a win and say hello to Denver.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be fun?
I mean, the amount of comebacks that Denver has had this season from down 20.
Yeah.
I mean, you could look at that 2 ways. By the way, I know it's not a Denver podcast, but having said that, just the fits that they've given the entire league, and a lot of people have said just how good they are. But to be down as many as 20 as they've been the amount of times they have this season, do you look at it that way, or just simply their ability to turn the switch and just how good they really are?
I think it goes 2 ways, Mark. I think, like, number one, when you become a champion, you have that switch ability. Last year, they were full throttle the whole way, and that's how it is when teams are forming a dynasty or teams are going for their first championship run. You think of Kobe and Shaq in 2000. They ran away with the Western Conference. They were the best team in the league by far, full throttle the whole way. The rest of the time, they were not. They knew when to turn it up, and that drove fans crazy. But that was just the reality. Same thing with Kobe and Powell's team. You saw it with Boston in 08. You saw it with the Warriors when the Steph and Clay dynasty first happened. Best team in the league all the way through. Denver did that last year. This year, they don't have to. They know what it takes. They have the belief in how to do it, and they actually have performed it. They also have the best starting 5 in the NBA, and that's just fact. So they have this ability to, and they have that over everybody because everyone knows they're top dog. So they go into every game with a mental edge on you.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows they're the best team.
And Geeter, you outlined it all pretty perfectly, but just to build off of a few points, the other things that they have that account for those comebacks, they got the resilient mindset. You know, they don't get rattled from top to bottom. They have the continuity. They lost some key pieces in, free agency departures last season, Bruce Brown, Ish Smith, et cetera. But they have Nikola Jokic. They have Jamal Murray. They have most of their core back, when you add Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon. And they just have that familiarity. They know what the roles are going to be in crunch time. And it also helps that Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA.
They're 10-1 since the All-Star break. And I don't want to harp too much on, obviously, the loss to the Kings last night. So more so big picture, one, I guess, for the Lakers, how much do you take away just the fits that they have given them and what that means for the Lakers in general? Is that a reflection of who this team is, or no, is that just the matchup situation? But then also you talk about Denver and the starting 5 that they have. Is there concern? Obviously, you imagine possibly some help on the way, whether it be Jared Vanderbilt, whether it be Gabe Vincent, how much you're going to get from Gabe, who knows? But the disparity between the starters for the Lakers, who have been pretty darn good for the majority, and the lack of bench depth at times that they have.
Are you talking Kings or are you talking Denver?
Lakers.
No, but I'm saying against those teams.
I just think in general, when you see the way in which the Lakers played last night against the Kings, is that to just the Kings matchup, or do you think it shows more what the Lakers are lacking?
I think it's twofold. I think like it's really tough to survive a night when LeBron is not feeling well and he's off. AD, I mean, they all ended up with some numbers, but AD gets outplayed by Sabonis, and D'Lo had 1 point for most of the game. So those are your three main guys. You can survive with one of them, maybe two of them, but it's really tough on a night on the road when the Kings are clicking to survive with all three having a bad game. I also think it is a tough matchup. I think Vando and Gabe Vincent would actually really help in that particular matchup. And I say that because where the Kings get the Lakers, their guards are able to get wherever they want. We tried. AR's doing his best. D'Lo's doing his best, but it's a tough matchup with Malik and with Fox because they can get to their spots the way they run through Sabonis at the high post too, the dribble handoff, and they have shooters around them. So that is just a tough matchup for the Lakers, no matter what. Now, it doesn't mean they can't beat them.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they can't beat them. But I see the Lakers as a team that has to bolster that bench a little bit. We need to unlock Dinwiddie at some point. He needs to feel confident enough to be a little more free. I know he's playing in most lineups with AR, D'Lo, so he's not a dominant ball guy, but we need to find a way to get him going a little bit. I just think if a couple guys could return, it would just make our bench a little bit more productive. Mm-hmm. Listen, you see teams all the time that are starter heavy, and some teams where their bench plays a bigger role. The Lakers, you look at those five guys; those are the best players.
Yeah.
And there's a major drop off, but those guys can still play roles and they can still win games. But you got to have a little production, in my opinion.
Did he? If you saw the pregame last night, big game, rattled off his tongue. It was incredible. Talking about Spencer Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
And he said Win Diddy was awesome.
I can't
stop thinking about
Diddy.
it, actually. I know, me too. Put it on a t-shirt.
Yeah, I understand the 3 losses to Denver. You're not going to stop Jokic. There's no solution for him. I think moving forward, if they face the Nuggets in a playoff series, it's about what can they do to compensate everywhere else. Because maybe outside of Joel Embiid, and that's even a heavy ask, no one's stopping Jokic. So it's about, do you have enough perimeter depth to offset that? With the Kings, I'm a Domantas Sabonis fan, but frankly, Anthony Davis should be outperforming him. And I know that that's not the only reason why the Kings lost, but Sabonis is a player that himself had been struggling in the past of how you deal with physicality and how do you deal with the rebounding battle. I mean, that was one of the key reasons why the Warriors won that key Game 7 against the Kings in the first round. And I thought for Anthony Davis, like, he would be able to take on that challenge and just dominate and do his things. He did miss some open shots, but when it comes to the rebounding, at least just making things difficult for Sabonis, I was just confounded he wasn't able to do that. Now,
he's also got to come and help a lot, man, and you're leaving Sabonis free. It's a tough.
And I was going to say, I do understand the 3-point shooting that they gave up because they decided, okay, we're going to target De'Aaron Fox. He is such a great player and get into the paint. Hence, you're leaving other guys wide open. Like, that's going to happen. But the Sabonis part, not just the other night, but this whole series this season, I've been confounded that that's been such a lopsided matchup.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's about impact. Big Game James talked about it yesterday. AD's still getting numbers, but impact in the game, Sabonis definitely getting the edge. But to me, there's so much more to that. When you talk about the Denver Laker matchup too, like, the Lakers have been right there, I think, in like 6 straight games, but there's something about those last 4 or 5 minutes where Denver just knows that they can get whatever they want. And until the Lakers flip that, and until the Lakers can be more physical with them, and that's where I think Vando is key in both these series if they were to face these teams. Mark, I just don't see a path for the Lakers to win a playoff series unless Jared Vanderbilt is healthy. I've said it since the day he got hurt. He is the biggest piece for this team because no one on the Laker team can do what he does.
He hasn't played in a Laker-Denver game this year.
That's crazy. And listen, he's not this he's not the savior that comes and drops 20. It's not happening. It's what he does for the team defensively and how he makes up for other players and the 50 balls and all that stuff, the hustle. You have to have that guy to, if you want to be good and make a run. They don't have that guy.
Yeah, it's the trickle-down effect. It's the cog in the machine. And I think that you've hit that perfectly. And that, Frankly, Gator, and Allie, that's really set the tone at the beginning of the season. The fact that he had
17 games.
So many injuries throughout the year overlapping. And remember last season when the Lakers got them, they dramatically changed defensively.
Yeah.
You know, AD was able to be more aggressive. He felt like he actually had help.
Yep.
He's able to devote even more on the offensive end, knowing that he doesn't have to conserve all his energy on the defensive end. So I'm with you. Like, he was that game changer dating back to last season on the defensive end. And the same way that D'Angelo Russell was on the offensive end, with just igniting balance, a lot more of a scoring threat, relieving the burden on LeBron James and Anthony Davis offensively.
And if you're curious on what that looks like, watch the first half against the Boston Celtics when Vando was probably at his peak and playing the best basketball he'd played in 2 years. That was the game he got hurt. No AD and no LeBron. Go watch game 1 last year where he had to guard Steph. Go watch certain moments where he's had to be on like that. Right, you just watch those moments and you'll understand what we're talking about.
He's giving us some hope if you follow him on social media, because he's posting a lot of his rehab, a lot of his recovery. Today, he seemed to be in good spirits, and you imagine that he knows something, obviously, about a return, possibly, hopefully, before the end of the season. Either way, I mean, obviously, you'd like to see him get some reps, some conditioning before the regular season is over.
Of course.
You don't want to have to go into a play-in scenario.
Because when he came back, Allie, the first time,
having not played,
it took him a long time.
It did. It took him about 6 or 7 games.
It really did to find his footing. Even offensively, it took him until he got hurt again.
Oh, then offensively,
that
part,
just starting to get going.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll have an update on that in terms of where his status is. So that was kind of more big picture, and hard not to talk about Denver because that's just the team that is doing it for everyone. But when you talk about who is in front of the Lakers or who is with them right now, obviously, as we mentioned, in the play-in situation, that 9-10 game with the Warriors, they see the Warriors 2 more times coming up this Saturday, both home games. How do you see, I guess, and how big are these matchups mentally, obviously standing-wise, with where they are in terms of having the home game versus the road game in a situation like that?
They're huge because it's like a mini series.
Steph expected to possibly be back, of course, on Saturday.
Of course, and it's like a mini series. And the Warriors, with the tinkering they've done with their lineup and the emergence of a couple of their young guys, they are now changing how they play, and they've become a little more athletic, a little more dynamic. So that could create some problems for the Lakers. This isn't the team the Lakers eliminated last year. They have a little bit different look, I think. So they got some rookies that are playing well. So for me, like, this is a mini series, these 2 games, and you got to look at it like that playing game's a game 7, because it is.
Yep.
So it's literally 2 out of 3, but you got to win that 3rd one. That's the only one that really, really matters, right?
As of right now, with 15 to go for the Lakers, a game ahead of the Warriors, and then a game and a half behind the 8 spot. So when you're talking about 7-8 versus 9-10.
But they're tied with the Warriors. I always look at the loss column, because that to me is what matters.
Okay, loss column.
They're tied in the loss column.
Yep. 3 games back of Mavericks.
3 games back of Mavericks. So you got to hope that's why you look at that and you go, and the Mavericks own the tiebreak. So you got to. It's really tough to catch them with 15 left.
Yeah. And
like I said, 11-4 and 8-8 would do it.
And the Lakers and Warriors, they've had all their own ups and downs this season for different reasons. And with that, I think the Lakers are better off long term than the Warriors. But in the short term, I could see some pretty big challenges Saturday's matchup, because Steph Curry, he'll likely be back. He's going to be evaluated after Friday's practice. That's his full practice. But Steph Curry. The Lakers have had some perimeter defense issues, but it's not even just Steph. Brandon Penzinski, their rookie, he is a really good point of attack player as well. And then what you mentioned, alluded to with their young player, Jonathan Kuminga, he is such a dynamic roller to the basket. And when we're talking about these defensive issues and how Anthony Davis needs help, like, Anthony Davis can probably shut him down, obviously, but I think it's going to take more than just that.
Yeah. I mean, listen, also, when you play a team like that in a one-off, I mean, anytime you have a top 10 player of all time that you're facing in a one-game situation, as Sacramento last year, and the Warriors would say the same thing. Yes, he's 39, but they're facing LeBron James and AD. You know, so it's not a fun matchup for either team.
Yeah.
But, you know who's going to love it? The NBA.
Love it. I'll love it.
Although, unfortunately, they lose one of them, and that sucks. Because they're the 2 biggest draws in the league.
Can I add something here, though? Like, so it's the Kings, different dynamic, but when Steph had that 50-point game, and this ties to the Lakers, Mike Brown, the Kings coach, told me later on that as much as obviously that was a huge part of that game, he's convinced that if they cleaned up the glass better, they still would have won that game. So
Yeah, I agree with him.
How this pertains to the Lakers, if they see Steph and he goes off for one of those things, one of your controllables is what can you do on the glass and just overall defensively with everyone else to still give yourself a pretty good chance to win.
It's been such a challenge the entire year, the rebounding. It's just been a huge Achilles heel for them. Like, for the first part of the year was, oh, this team can't shoot. Now all of a sudden you're like, oh, they're actually 6th in the NBA in three-point shooting or whatever they are, 7th or top
They're
8.
first. Are you talking about the Lakers?
No, I'm saying overall for the whole year.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was just saying, we were just talking about the last 2 months. They've been
Yeah,
first
they've
at
been
41%.
first. So you can't blame the
It's nuts.
shooting anymore.
Yeah.
You can't blame the offense anymore. But the rebounding has been a huge issue.
Randomly, I was looking at the Mavericks' upcoming schedule because you said they have to go 8-8.
It's tough at first, and then it.
So they've won 4 in a row,
Yeah.
but they're 5-5 over the last 10. Their defense has struggled, but they see Sac a couple of times, which they've lost to. They have yet to beat this year. They have Golden State 3 times. They have OKC twice. They have Miami. Then they've got
Spurs about 9 times.
they got Spurs 9 times, Utah 9 times, Houston, Charlotte. It will be interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
It'll be interesting. But then
I could see them going 9-7.
they have to go 11-4. Lakers have to go 11-4.
I mean, if Dallas went 9-7, then the Lakers would have to go 12-3.
And we're talking about schedule tonight on the show over the next 5 for the Lakers. What do you have them going as?
You know, interestingly enough, these next 5 games, I have them going 4-1.
Me too. Okay. Me too.
I have the Warriors
I was
winning.
I was a little nervous.
I have the Warriors winning Saturday just because of Steph coming back and all that. But they play.
Oh, so you have them dropping the Warriors.
Can I say something?
But how about this? They beat the Hawks the next game. They beat the Sixers. They beat the Pacers.
You have
I
them
think they
beating
win
the
in Milwaukee.
Bucks?
So
Yeah. The Bucks have been up and down.
when we do our show, Access SportsNet Lakers, they're at 7 o'clock on the weekdays or whatever, on non-game nights. And we do that look ahead 8 games, 5 games, 10 games. I'm telling you, we've done it for 12 years. Every time we do it, I'm like, that is going to happen.
Hang on.
And our we have been right 3 times.
Was Dinger right this last time?
I think he was, but you were close too. What was he, 4?
He was 8-2 and I was 7-3
No, they didn't go 8-2, did they? No.
over their last 10.
No,
they
we
went
did 8.
what?
I thought we did 8, and you were 5-3 or 6-2. Maybe I'm wrong. They'd have to check. But all I'm saying is, like, it looks so good when we break it down
does. It
because you're like,
does.
yes, that's going to happen, and then we haven't been right yet.
The 4-1 though.
So let's
I'm
do
like,
the opposite predictions.
I
so
don't know.
that the other
January
ones
is
go
what
I mean,
really
Lakers
effed
went
me up.
6-4.
Listen,
last time?
January jacked me up because January was,
8-2, 6-4.
January was like we did all 15 games, and it was not. We were like, oh man, this
Yeah.
is going to be a run, and it was whatever 7-8, 8-7. I forget. Someone can correct me, but
Yeah, they were below 500.
I mean 7-8.
Yep.
That to me is the season right there, and the reason why they're going to be in the 9-10 game. It's not for what happened right after the IST. It's what happened in January. That's when they had a chance to really right the ship. They were healthy. There's no excuses. They were at home the whole time.
Dang.
Instead, they
All
went to
right.
February and March when it got really tough and played better and won games.
Are we forgetting anything
Time to go.
before we move on? I'm
5-3,
sorry.
Allie. You
I
went
said 5-3.
You were right.
And I was
And you know what? That's what I mean. We've been right 3 times. You were one of them.
I was
Thank
one
you.
of them. It ends with what? So I was right. Wow.
Mom,
I
Duke
wonder
of
if my
honey spilled.
picks were right though. All right. Anyways, here we go. Lakeshow fans, remember you can be a part of this show each week. Feel free to send us your questions and comments. We'd love to hear from you. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's around a bucket of brick. Welcome back to the Lakeshow podcast presented by Jack in the Box. If you're enjoying the show, you can check out more original podcasts from our Spectrum News journalist on the Spectrum News app. Just head to the podcast section to listen to the latest episodes. You can download the Spectrum News app on the App Store or Google Play. Time for a round of Bucket or Brick presented by Jack in the Box. And recently, D'Lo spoke to Dave McMenamin and discussed his relationship with Darvin Ham last season, how it took a hit because of his coach's relationship with Dennis Schroeder, saying this about Dennis. His relationship with Darvin is the reason I couldn't have a relationship with Darvin. When I was struggling, I would have been able to come to the coach and say, bro, this is what we should do. Like, I can help you. Instead, there was no dialogue. I just accepted it. We got swept, and I'm here, and he's not. And I like our chances. Darvin addressed his relationship with D'Lo before the game against the Kings. Take a listen.
I think it's in a great place. I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's that's why the phrase is called building a relationship. It doesn't hit the ground running all the time, smooth, and trying to figure things out on the fly. It wasn't like, and yeah, Dennis is someone I love and care about. Dennis is a hell of a player, but just trying to learn low on the fly and figure things out, and then for him, the beautiful thing about it, I think that caused the difference in where we were then and where we are now, is our ability to talk and be honest with one another, and our ability to really take accountability with one another. Where if it's I'm saying, you know what, I should have did that probably a little bit different, or him saying that, it's two grown men both caring about winning, both trying to help one another figure this thing out.
So bucket or brick, D'Lo and Darvin's relationship is better.
I'll bucket it only because it's relative. D'Lo's been playing a lot better than he did, during the last postseason. But, those quotes there's a lot to unpack there, because I think that you understand that inevitably, if Darvin Ham has a previous relationship with Dennis Schroeder, by design, it's going to be closer. You hope that, Darvin's managing every player objectively and establishing a dialogue so that there is an ability to grow a relationship. At the same time, I think that the actions always speak louder. I mean, D'Angelo struggled during the playoffs, and while he was always valuable even when he wasn't missing shots with just, running the offense, when he was going through those tough stretches of missing shots, he wasn't adjusting well. So, yeah, I feel a little conflicted about how to unpack all those quotes.
But right now you just bucketed it.
Yeah, it's better, but it's relative.
Yeah,
Yep, got it.
I'll bucket it because it's better now than it was last year, obviously. I mean, I don't.
Did we even know that it was not well last year?
No, I
No.
don't. I mean, he's been around Dennis for years, so obviously his relationship with Dennis is strong. But you still should be able to go to your coach, and if you don't feel you can, then that's on the both of them. But fortunately, they can now. It sounds like, so it's better. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for this year's playoffs.
Bucket or brick, LeBron's streak of scoring in double figures will only come to an end when he retires. 1,209 games.
Bucket.
Bucket.
Well, I hate to say this.
Yeah.
Obviously, remember when he got hurt his ankle, he had 7 points.
Yeah.
He came in and shot a fall away in 3 in the corner and then missed 2 months.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he would ever, he would play until, I don't know how, even if he's hurt, he would somehow get 10.
Yeah.
The guy just knows how to get 10 points.
Yeah.
Last night it was getting close.
I didn't have enough perspective until I saw the Shaq comparison. That his streak of 10, you saw this?
No, I didn't see it.
LeBron's streak of consecutive games scoring at least 10 points is at 1,209. Shaq played 1,207 games for his career.
Wow.
Yeah. That's wild.
That streak's not going to be broken.
Well, to steal a Shaq quote, I think it's a testament that LeBron never healed on company time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, good work right there.
Look at you.
So I'm bucking this as well. I think the reality is, obviously the caveats, Father Time is always undefeated. And even with LeBron James playing at a high level, you see Father Time's light touch and how he's adapted his game. But even with all those caveats aside, he's still playing at an elite level, all-star caliber level. And I think that he's going to be able to sustain that and stay healthy so that he can retire on his own terms. And as a result, he's going to keep the streak going and going every game he plays.
If I'm not mistaken, was he sitting on 6 points in the third quarter last night?
Yes, he was, and he hit a 3.
Rui was 8 for 10 in the first half, just 1 shot in the second half. Bucket or brick, Rui only gets 1 shot in the second half was shocking.
Bucket.
Only getting 1 shot.
Shocking, disturbing, and stupid.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
He had 28 last week against the Kings. 28 or 29.
Bucket and basically echo what Geeter says. Specifically in that game, as we alluded to, LeBron and AD and D'Angelo didn't have their best games. And so you're riding the hot hand. I think philosophically, because of who Rui is and what he means to the team, generally you don't expect, okay, we got to make sure he's getting the ball. But when he's having a hot performance like he did and everyone else isn't, you got to go with what works.
Touche. Anthony Davis is 0-10 in his career against Sabonis. Bucket or brick that AD being winless against Sabonis is a concern.
Go ahead, Mark.
I'm going to bucket this. The caveats, yes, he's not the only reason why they've been struggling against the Kings. Sabonis should have been an all-star team. But I think Anthony Davis usually is a better player than him. So I don't think that there should be any streak where we're seeing that Sabonis is outperforming him. It sounds like, Eater, that you disagree.
No. I'll brick it. Mark is not wrong, but I will go off of what you said at first. Like, it's a team game. And, you know, I think Monk and Fox putting up 70 last week at Crypto is a bigger issue than Sabonis versus AD.
Yeah.
I've never been into the one-on-one matchups, so it's not a huge concern yet. But if it keeps happening, I'll jump on with you with the concern.
Yep. If it comes down to losing a playoff game or a play-in situation,
Then I'll be concerned.
Then we'll be concerned. Bucket or brick, you are optimistic that Jared Vanderbilt will be back this season. You guys, he can't be posting what he's posting if he's not coming back.
I'll
There's
go bucket
no
because
way.
Allie wants me to.
Thank you.
And I want to be optimistic, so I'm going to go bucket.
Thank you.
I don't care if I'm wrong. There's no accountability on the show. If I'm wrong, no one's going to care. No one's ever going to say anything. So I'm going to go bucket because I want him to be back.
I'm going to be bucket on him returning. Now, I might have to do a brick as far as like what it's going to look like and the positive
That's
impact.
okay. We didn't go there.
No.
We don't need that
Okay.
negativity,
Because
Mark.
there's a lot of
Marcus,
questions
Marky
about
Mark,
gotta go
Medina.
back.
okay,
Brick.
workload,
Medina.
conditioning. Can he stay healthy? How's the rotations going to look like?
I know another nickname that I've said for you.
Yeah, what's that?
Funky Cold.
I love it. I love it.
Can I have explanation, please?
Do you know that shot? You know that
It's a
song?
great song.
No.
Funky Cold Medina?
No. Who sings it?
How about this? How
Give
about
me a
this
clue.
for a backstory? Because I do some stuff with Fox Sports Radio. When I'm on segments, they always play that as an intro song.
Mark, can
Funky
you help?
Cold
Can you help her?
Medina?
Funky Cole Medina. Yep.
can you help her?
T-Loke.
T-Lo?
Yeah, he's an 80s hip hop artist.
What band?
I'm going to play the song.
Oh,
for
that's
you
the
as soon as we're
artist.
off.
The artist is T-Loke?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me hear. Tone Loke.
There you go. I'm sorry. I messed that
no.
up. I
I'm going to
messed
play it
that
after
up.
the show, I said.
Oh, okay. Well, shoot. You know how many people have told me I ruin all the things because I don't know anything? Last one. Bucket or brick. The Lakers can reach the playoffs if they finish in the 9th or 10th seed.
You want to take this one, Gator? You got it.
So sick of it all.
I want them to be in the. I'm just telling you
no.
that one and
What's the
done
question?
situation is hard, with especially the teams that are in there.
What's the question? They make the
Bucket or brick.
playoffs?
The Lakers can reach the playoffs if they finish 9th or 10th.
They can. You didn't ask me if they will.
The Lakers
Can they?
will reach the playoffs if they finish 9th or 10th.
Allie, I'll do the bucket there. It only takes 1 or 2 games, but I think that we've seen LeBron and AD mostly healthy, mostly consistent.
Who do you want to see in the second
They've
game?
mostly won high-stakes games.
You have to pick a team.
As
You're
far
coming
as-
off a Warriors battle.
Coming off
Who
a
do you
Warriors
want?
battle,
Okay.
you don't want to see KD Booker. Okay, let's scratch them off
from
the
an
list.
entertainment standpoint, or what's better for the Lakers?
What's better for the Lakers?
What's better for the
Nothing's
Lakers?
going to be entertaining.
Luka, Kyrie, KD, Booker, Beal. Who's the
mean-
other team in there?
I think I'd rather
Sabonis,
see them.
Fox?
I'd hate to say this. I'd rather see the Mavs than anybody, guys.
I don't.
I'd
rather see the Suns?
I don't want to see Kyrie and Luka in a one game. I don't.
I'd see.
You want to see Booker and KD?
No, I don't want to see any of them. Is my point.
Here's the
OKC
thing.
won't come down in playoffs, so
You know, there's
Or the
only one
Timberwolves.
adage that you don't wish this upon anyone in professional sports, but just objectively and, you know, being real to the situation, I would say the Suns because you just don't know their
if they're going to be
availability.
healthy.
Yeah.
That's
you know what? Give me the Kings. We'll play it at Arco Arena, or wherever the hell they play now. And
They'll do
Golden
the
One.
cowbells.
we will light the beam after that game.
And
How about
AD
that?
will outperform
Stupid ass light
Sabonis
the
that
beam.
game.
Yo, at the Golden One Center, can y'all keep the bells away from the cameras? Because hearing that on the television screen,
Yeah, I got
oh
fever.
my.
More cowbell.
Who was the other team? Sorry.
There is no other
Mavs.
team. The Mavs.
Oh, because the Kings went to 6. I missed that part, even though I said
It's
it
either
earlier.
going to be the Kings, the Mavs, or the Suns.
Shoot.
That's pretty crazy.
Kings, Mavs, or Suns.
The
Those are-
NBA is getting everything they wanted.
But
for this
but
play-in
you
tournament.
would,
You're
you
knocking
would
great
want that in a
players out.
7-game playoff series.
But
though.
there's still great players that are going to move on.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
To your point, they're loaded in the playing game. You're getting all of those.
What a nightmare that would
players.
have been for the league last year if the Lakers would have lost the 7-8 game to Minnesota and then lost the game and not been in as a 7 seed. Should have been playing Memphis and didn't get in. Would have crushed the ratings. They would never had the Warriors series. So they're flirting with disaster. They're getting it this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be
I'm
an
already in a
absolute.
spin cycle. Okay, we got to listen to this music, so we're going to wrap.
Let's go.
Thanks to you for listening to the Lake Show podcast, presented by Jack in the Box. If you like what you hear, leave us a rating and review on your favorite podcast app. We want to hear from you. Send us your questions. Hit us up on X at Relay Clifton, Ike Eater, 3 and at what's yours, Marky Mark?
Mark G _Medina.
Until next week.